Hey, and I love that. And you know that these questions keep coming up. And Chelsea, it's always so good. I know we've got, your social media targeted ads like Guru Whiz, which is why I love having a conversation because you just make us better. And these are the questions that keep coming up. One of them really around, okay, hey, I'm starting to do some targeted ads. I'm starting to run these lists. So what's amazing for all of the people that's your first time to meet Chelsea Gardner, what she does is she helps us identify the list of people to get those lists uploaded into like Meta, so you can do very specific targeted ads that run on Instagram and Facebook. And here's what's really cool. A lot of times we think we're trying to go get, 10,000 people. But the reality is, if you've got your warm list of agents you've worked with or past clients or sphere of influence, with a handful of dollars a day, like a $5 a day spend or even three, I mean, half the time, Chelsea, you and I know this, there's not even a big enough audience to spend that money. But
Right.
with very few dollars, a couple $100 a month, you can literally have a digital billboard in front of the people that already know, like, and trust you. And we know this, the Association of Realtors said that 78% of clients would work with the loan officer or realtor again, but only 11% do because they simply forgot who you were.
Yep.
And it's a part of our farming. We got two types of marketing. We've got hunting and fishing, which is what happens today. It helps me eat today. And farming is high tech, high touch, low time. What are the things I'm doing to stay top of mind in less than 2 hours a week? And Chelsea, with fully aligned marketing, and I know, I just thought let's jump on. Let's talk about let's say we've got some ads running now. How do we know what to run? And
Yeah.
these ads are getting a little bit old. They're 30 days old. How do I replace them and do new ads that actually keep my audience engaged?
Yeah. And, kind of going back to what you had just said about staying top of mind, a really
Right.
funny, and this is nothing to do with content, but a really funny story that came to my mind was, my husband and I bought our home 5 years ago. And
Right.
obviously, we worked with a lender. I know her name. I have never seen anything from her since, right?
Mm,
So, even though I'm a co-borrower, we want to make sure that we are targeting not just the borrower, but also the co-borrowers, right? Because
mm,
my husband is not on social media. I am, right? So you want to make sure that we're targeting everyone on our list. So if we're doing past clients, for example, if we're doing real estate agents, that's different, but past clients, pull your borrowers, pull your co-borrowers and get in front of them. I would have had so many referrals for her if I knew who she was. Like if I would continuously see her information in front of me,
yeah.
even if it's just, we already closed on our house, obviously not looking for a new home, but hey, here's some spring cleaning tips. Here's what you can do. Like, here's
Mm,
how
mm,
I'm, in the community. Here's how I'm giving back. I'm a human being just like you. I, live, work, play in the community. I support the community. Those type, just again, being in front of people is so crucial because like I said, I'm now in this industry and I have a ton of referrals I could have
yeah.
sent, but I've never seen her ever since that day I signed the papers. Um,
Mm.
so
Well, hey, and it's a great reminder. It's like that's part of the gap that we're working to fill. And when you got a plan, like that's the farming. And
yep,
and I'll tell you what it is, Chelsea, it's you get busy with all the business that's coming in, and it's like you've got this slow leak in your boat. And it's like this water keeps coming in because you got these holes and you don't even realize one of them is just staying top of mind. And
yep,
here's the thing, it's because most people don't know how simple it is and
yeah,
how inexpensive it is. You just have to have somebody help walk you through setting it up. And that's what I love about what you do is you're able to literally take these strategies in very short order, help loan officers literally implement within a matter of a few days, few weeks, and keep the drip on to stay top of mind. So, hey,
yeah.
and I love that you said something when you were talking about, and I know you were just casually throwing that out, and that's what I really want to talk about, is you said, hey, maybe even staying top of mind with things like spring cleaning or being in the community. Talk about that. What are some
Yeah.
of the things that can diversify the ads so
Hmm.
that it doesn't seem like, oh, it's just, hey, I do mortgages, more
Yeah.
human side of it.
And that's the biggest thing, right? Like people don't necessarily want to log into their socials and constantly be sold to. We are always in a
Mm,
marketing aspect of life in general. We're seeing billboards, TV
right,
ads, you know.
right.
People go into Facebook to see what other people are doing, to be curious, to be nosy, whatever the case may be, to watch video content. So, how do we stand out as a loan officer and not constantly be like, hey, by the way, I do USDA loans, don't forget, right? Like, how
Mhm.
can we, still showcase what we do, but in more of a way that is going to resonate with people. And
Right.
it truly is okay. Let's think about who we are as human beings and what we like to go to social media for. So,
Mhm.
again, past clients, great concept. Especially if they just closed, no one's probably going to be looking for a house in 3 months from now, right? If they just closed three
Right.
months ago. So, what kind of tips, tricks, ideas, things that you can share being in the community with your and showcasing that to your real estate agents, that's a huge deal too, right? Like, hey, we support the neighborhoods that you
Mm,
represent, right? We live in this neighborhood, we love this neighborhood, we go to yoga on the lake, we whatever the case is, like we're doing this too, and we support that, or we support our local little league teams, or
yeah, yeah,
pictures of being at the little league event, like all of that stuff. Like we're not always there just to say, hey, work with me, hey, work with me, right? Like
yeah.
it's also like, here's what I'm doing outside of work.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. So let's say you've got, well, I mean, let's just use an example. So Ellie rides horses, Lucas is in Little League, Stephanie does bees, which is all pretty cool. She sells
Yeah.
eggs. And so you're saying maybe do some more human posts, like maybe one of Stephanie working the bees. Would you tie that back and say, working with bees reminds me about mortgages, or would you just be more human and say, "Hey, I love working with bees. It's my, for her, it's kind of her, I don't know, it's calming
Like a
place."
de-stress. Yeah.
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 So would you put a call to action in the body of it, and or would you just post more like, "I love bees. It's when I'm not helping families." Like I kind of think like this. Would it be like,
Yes.
"Hey, it's bee season, and when I'm not helping families get into a home, one of the things I love about being with the bees is."
Mm-hmm.
Or would you just not even say anything about the mortgage and focus on the bees?
So I would absolutely tie it, but in a
Got it.
very tasteful manner, exactly
Got
how
it.
you said, right? Like, so when I'm not helping first-time home buyers get into their new home that they love,
Right.
I
Right.
am doing XYZ, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it does throw in the, oh, hey, I am a loan officer without being like, hey, work with me, I'm a loan officer, right?
Right. Right.
But especially when you're doing paid ads, because obviously you're paying to be in front of these individuals directly, and we do want them to know what you do, but not in a
Hmm.
constant, hey, call me,
Sold. Yeah,
hey,
you
call
said
me.
it perfectly. They don't want to be sold. They're
Yeah,
not on a platform to be sold. They're on a platform to be entertained. That's the
yeah,
truth, right?
yeah.
They
Entertained,
just
educated. Yep,
Yeah, and give me something that I'm like, oh, that's good, or that was great. Hey, let me ask you this: when you do something on the ads, because it gives you the opportunity to say, hey, message me, or what things like that.
yep,
Do you put a hey, DM me or message me on an ad that is like I'm out tending to the bees, or I even thought about like Ellie. Ellie just won her first rodeo, and maybe have a picture of Stephanie with Ellie and Blue, her horse. And, so is that something that you would still put a call to action that says, message me for more information? Or what would you do in that? Do you not, or do you?
yeah. So I still would add a form of call to action at the bottom, right? So like if you're kind of tying it into like, hey, when we're not helping first time home buyers, we
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
at the shows with the horses with
Yeah.
Ellie.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, if you are a first time home buyer, would love to connect.
Yeah.
And then add in that call to action, whether it's go into a contact page or a call button, a message button, just because obviously if someone is like, oh wow, like I didn't know Steve did all of this stuff, I really
Right.
want to work with him, because that's cool, like we do that stuff too. You want to actually have something that they can go to and connect with you, but
Mm,
again, not in like the contact me today type messaging, just like, oh hey,
right.
by the way, kind of like almost as if it was a second thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
you it's not a second thought, but to maybe someone reading it, it's not like the so much in your face. And one thing that I've been telling a lot of people to do as well is take a piece of paper, brain dump things that you love to do, like to do, enjoy doing, right? Just all the things. And then go to ChatGPT and key in, I'm a loan officer
Yeah.
who loves fill in the blank,
Hmm.
right? So beekeeping. Tie this into fill in the blank. Being a first time home buyer,
Yeah.
USDA
Yeah.
loans,
Yeah.
VA loans, and it will spit back a ton of different ideas on how you can link beekeeping with
Right.
home buying or
Oh
whatever
yeah.
that fill in the blank is.
Yeah.
And you can easily create content that way and keep the focus of, a lot of people may not even read the caption. So a lot of it needs to go into the picture that you're uploading, the video that you're uploading. So take a video of you doing the beekeeping, right? And just have that as like your actual footage with the caption. The caption can read the same as, when I'm not, helping home buyers, I'm beekeeping, but people see the video, they're going to engage with that versus
Right.
probably even read the caption anyways.
Hey there, if you're loving the tips so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss out on more cool free tips coming your way. I'd also love to hear from you. Make sure to drop a comment below and let me know what you think, or what it is you want to see next. And we'll see you on the inside. See you. Hey, and you know what I might do, and I'd love your thought on this. Instead of saying, "Hey, when I'm not helping first-time homebuyers," like I was just thinking with Ellie. Um, Super, something like this. She crushed it, and again, I would work it, but wow, she literally won 4 out of the last 5 heats of this week's, Rogue Rodeo. And when I watch Blue and kind of go into that whole story, when I
Yep.
watch the determination and what this is teaching me, and one of the lessons I really took out of it was XYZ, which always reminds me, that's why I love what we do in the mortgage space, because
Yes.
so it's almost like you start with the story
Story.
first,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then you kind of tie it back into why we love, it reminds me about working with families and helping them buy homes. Is sometimes it's not the first, it may be the fourth, and
Yep.
so maybe even at the at the end, kind of turning it into, that's why I love what I do. And
Yep.
this is a great example. And then maybe the call to action would be something like, hey, message me if you'd like, more information. But really, it's the either a video or
Story.
picture of Stephanie and Blue and Ellie at the rodeo, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
so powerful.
Exactly. And the story is really key, right? So when, like, for example, I actually just had a client that I coached through this, and he loves to bike ride, and
Yeah,
he's near Boston. And I said, get on your bike, go bike to the water or somewhere that you love, that you
yeah,
reflect or you sit and you look. Hold your bike, hold your phone, and just talk to the camera about, while I was bike riding, I had to stop in my favorite spot. And while I was here, I thought about,
X,
and then
yeah,
he told a story
mhm,
about a homeowner he just helped get into her home. She was a single mom, yada, yada, yada.
yeah,
But in the background, it's he's holding his bike.
yep,
He tells what he loves to do, right? So I was route bike riding. The background was like the Boston Harbor, beautiful scene, so like it shows where like where he's at. Those
right,
types of things humanize you. So, for
mm,
example, if she's at the rodeo, do the video there, right? With
yeah,
the horses
yeah,
in the
yeah,
background or Ellie in the background, like on
hmm,
like on Blue, and tell the story while you're in that exact moment. That is very powerful, because again, it's you're human, you're out and about, you're doing the things you love, but you're also, wow, while I'm out, I'm thinking about my home buyers. I'm thinking about this, and
I love
that
that.
that did really well for him in his ads.
Yeah, well, and also one of the things, is go back and look at your. This is something that we're doing with Steph right now. Is look at the posts that had a lot of organic traffic and
Yeah.
boost those.
Yes.
And so, hey, I got a question for you. Because there's video, you can do
Mm-hmm.
text, or you can do graphics, you can still do still photos. Like, is there kind of a formula that you think of, like how much should be video versus text or graphic? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, in organic posts or in ads.
I would stay with ads, like on
Okay.
the ad side.
Yeah. So I actually love to do a combination. So let's say we're talking about, being at with Ellie and Blue, and we're thinking about all of this. I
Yeah.
actually would like to see a photo,
Okay.
a video,
Okay.
and also just a regular graphic.
Okay.
I usually
Yep.
like to upload, and you can upload up to 10 videos and photos. I usually
Yeah.
like to do 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because everyone resonates differently. Some people are going to engage with a static image of just you guys and the horse, right? Some are going to engage more with the video where she's actually storytelling about it. And then
Yeah.
some just maybe just want a regular old graphic that you can create inside of Canva. So I like to actually upload all 3 or 4 different things. And then over
Hold on. Hey, hey,
time,
hey, hold on. Let
yep.
me. Okay. So for the ad, you would actually
Hmm.
do it. Would you run it in a carousel format, like where
No.
you would
So
just do
you,
three separate ads? You do one
nope,
that's no. Okay. So tell
nope.
me.
So
Okay.
you actually, inside of ads, you would
Yeah.
turn on what's called dynamic
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
And when you turn that on, it gives you the ability to upload multiple images and videos
Okay.
for that one ad campaign. So you don't have to run it
Um,
separately, like $5.
but it's different ways. It'll run some photo, some video, some
Yes.
graphic, but it's
Yes.
of the same ad.
Of the same ad. So obviously you
That's
don't want to
great.
run a ad
Uh-huh.
about USDA loans and VA loans in the same ad campaign, but if they're
Right.
all about first-time home buyers, do all of that in the same like concept, so the captions would make sense with whatever video it's with or picture it's with. And then what happens is Facebook does its little magic tricks on the back end, and it will show either one what it thinks will work best.
Yes.
Sometimes it just shows like, I like this graphic, this is what I'm pushing out.
Yeah.
Or it will show what other people are engaging with the most. So if they're engaging with the video the most, Facebook will start to push that out more.
Got
And
it.
what it does over time is it also allows you to see inside of your insights, okay, actually, this my pictures are doing way better than my videos.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start putting in more pictures into my
Got it.
ads. Or
Yeah.
my video is doing really well. I'm going to start doing more storytelling videos in my ads. So it
Mm,
starts building that, oh, they like this over this, because everyone's audience is different. We're all
that's right.
uploading different
That's right.
custom
Yep.
audiences. So everyone's going to interact differently. You also, with dynamic creative, can upload multiple captions.
Mm,
And so I like adding in about 2 to 3 different captions, a long form caption, a short form caption. And when I say that, I mean, when we were talking about storytelling, right?
yep. Yep.
So maybe what you said in that storytelling video about, hey, while I was here watching Ellie, I thought about, and you did that whole storytelling via video,
Right.
also make that a caption,
Yeah.
and then also make a very short form caption, right? So, hey, while I'm not helping home buyers, I love being out with Ellie watching her ride. Very, very simple. And
Mm-hmm.
that will also show you, okay, the long form caption performs better than the short form, or vice versa.
Got it.
Um, so
That's
you can
huge.
do a ton of things with dynamic creative. You can actually do different call to action buttons. So you can do
Yeah.
learn more, contact us, submit now, apply now, right? There's a ton of different options you can do. And again, you can look at your insights to say, okay,
Which
more
one's
people
performing better? Yeah,
clicked
that's right.
on learn more versus
Yeah.
apply now.
Yeah.
So it helps you tweak your ads over time.
That's huge. Hey, and when you're running ads, so because typically there's ads to past clients, sphere of influence, that's one targeted list, and then there's
Yep.
agents, and sometimes they're combined. It depends on
Yes.
what you're promoting.
Yep.
And I'd say probably a lot of time it could be both. It's not one or, unless it's realtor specific. Now, real question: let's say you've got an audience of, I don't know, 3 to 5,000 people in your sphere of influence and a couple thousand agents. Um, how many ads would you be running at any one time? Would you run just one that has the dynamic creative, or would you run multiple? Maybe one is lifestyle, one is, like
Mhm.
I was talking to Jennifer, who helps me, Jennifer, and I was
Yep.
like, you know what, we ought to do a series called I Bet You Didn't Know.
Mhm.
And that way you'd throw up like one is targeted towards I bet you didn't know. And so it would create curiosity, but it's very mortgage targeted.
Yep.
And then do one that's lifestyle, which I love, pick whatever that is. But would you run like, is it better to run just one for 30 days, or is it two or three, or can you run multiples? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So for me with clients, it's always going to be based on budget, right? So if you only got the budget to run $5 a day once, then I would recommend changing out your ads. We change them every week. So You would run maybe 1 week, you run it very specific to mortgage processes. Bet you didn't know this about the mortgage process. The
Yeah.
next week would be lifestyle. The next week would be mortgage process. The next week would be lifestyle, right? So you're kind of rotating them. If you have the budget to say, hey, I'm going to do $10, $15 a day, and that would run me 3 different ads, highly recommend running different styles. So
Got
your
it.
lifestyle and then more so along the lines of the selling, because you, again, like, people don't always want to be sold to, so you want to throw in those lifestyle ads,
Mm-hmm.
but you also want some of those like call to actions, or hey,
Right.
I am an expert in this
Yeah.
field, and that's
Yeah.
how you can get there, by
Yep.
showcasing, I love that. I bet you didn't know. Like, right? This
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
process that I bet you didn't know about. Or,
Yep.
here in Florida, we're going to have Hometown Heroes coming out in July. So that's a huge one to promote, right? So that's something you want a call to action. Funds run out. This, like, you need to get on this right now. So
Yeah.
there's a time for that, absolutely. So depending on budget, I would either rotate or I would run them simultaneously.
Got it. Hey, and let me ask you this, timeline wise. So you're literally, if it were one at a time, you'd rotate it every week.
Mhm.
Is there something that's showing you, hey, it's been seen 5 or 6 times? Like, is there a number where you don't want it to go past?
Yeah, so it's a frequency is what you would look at on the
Yeah.
insights.
Yep.
And typically, I don't like it to go over 6 or 7 in the
Yeah.
frequency sector. Now, depending on what it is, right? So, like the Hometown Heroes program, for example, is something that we probably would want people to see consistently until funds run out, for
Right.
example.
Right. Right.
But the reason that we maybe change them out every week, every other week, is because when you are running custom audiences, you are handing Facebook on a silver platter, here is exactly who I want you to target. It does not have to go through the learning phase. If you were to say, I want you to target Tampa Bay and 10
Right.
mile radius,
Right.
it's not going through a learning phase. If you're doing that, you're looking at running ads for at least 2 to 6 weeks before you even are going to see what it's trying to produce.
That's right. Got it.
Yep.
So that's why it's different, because these are very targeted, very
Yep.
specific people. So, hey, and
Exactly.
if you're listening and you want to know, Chelsea and I were talking about it earlier. She's got 5 spots available. And she's very boutique in her approach and very hands-on, white glove.
Yep.
But I'll tell you this, it is a remarkable service that you provide. And so go to fullyalignedmarketing.com, fullyalignedmarketing.com, and jump on our calendar. See if this is a good fit. I'll tell you this, it's one of the best investments you can make in yourself, because what's happening is you're planting seed today for a harvest you're going to see in the next 30, 60, 90 days. I know you were helping us with ours, and literally the first day we turned the ads on, Steph got a deal that literally closed within 30 days, the first day.
Awesome. Yep.
And you would be shocked. And it was just an old friend of ours who was going through a divorce. And she said, I happened to see it. And I am so glad I saw it. And Steph was able to help her through a very tough situation, but funded a loan for her within 30 days.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, the first day, the first ad, and it happened within hours. And
Yeah.
so if you're not doing something like this, and it is so affordable to get great help, and Chelsea's that person, but she's only got 5 spots. So fully aligned marketing.com, fill out a time, jump on our calendar,
Yep.
and let's get her to help you so that you can have your best year ever. So any closing thoughts, Chelsea?
Um, Kind of going back to what you said with getting like your first ad, first loan, people, when you are putting yourself out there for the first time, kind of like that situation, they don't realize or know that you are a loan officer, right? Like, I get it a lot of times for my stuff. If I'm not posting that I do marketing, people are like, I didn't know you did marketing. So
Yeah.
getting out there and sharing it is key. And you'll be surprised who all of a sudden is like, I had no idea, and like comes to you for help.
That's right. Well, and it's so interesting. A lot of times it's, hey, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's just the top of mind. Remember, 78% said they would refer to you, but only 11% did because they forgot.
Yeah.
So go to fullyalignedmarketing.com. Chelsea's going to help you. But do it quickly, because she doesn't have that many spots. 5 is not many. And so jump on her phone or jump on a calendar, jump on a call, and she'll help you see if it's a good fit. So, Chelsea, as always, I appreciate everything you do for our community. I appreciate the insight that helps us with our farming and how to stay top of mind. So, all right,
I appreciate you. Thanks,
listeners.
Steve.
Hey, and listen, if you're listening, make sure to like, share, subscribe. It helps us. Go in and give us a review, an honest review. That absolutely helps us get the word out to other loan officers. This will help continue to make an impact in their business. And we'll see you on the next episode. See you.